What's going on, everybody? I'm back. Hope everybody had a happy new year. Hope everybody's doing good. You know, I saw the Wilder Szpilka fight. I love the fight. I love the fight. I had to talk about this fight. I know I missed a lot of fights. I know. But you gotta understand, we got real life out of this YouTube thing, man. And I've been enjoying life, man. I think 2015 was probably one of the best years of my life outside of this disaster I had in my house that I told you guys about. But anyway, we not talking about all that. Let's talk about the fight. I saw some of the reviews of the fight. I've been watching the YTBC and paying attention to the post-fight reviews for this fight. And I kind of got a different angle with it. I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me, and it's cool. But it's the way that I saw this fight and the way that I see the future, with Povetkin and Fury and all these other guys, right? I've been a critic of Deontay Wilder. I've been a critic of his since very early, since I started my channel, okay? I've criticized him, and then I've given him his props, too. Okay, not for nothing, I know Wilder fought some of the guys that people didn't really want to see him fight in 2015, but they were tough fights, and even this fight with Artur Szpilka was a tough fight, okay? Now, about the fight, there's things that I've seen in both fighters that I liked, and there's things that I did not like in both fighters, okay? Going into this fight, we were supposed to believe that this was a easy touch for Wilder. An easier touch, because everybody wants to see him fight Povetkin or Tyson Fury or, whoever. And Szpilka wasn't the guy that people wanted to see. First we had heard about Brian Jennings. We were hoping that fight happened. Brian Jennings went and got knocked out by Luis Ortiz. And, we found out he's fighting Szpilka. And Szpilka's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter, all right? And he's a much improved fighter. I believe that. If you go back and watch the Brian Jennings fight and the fights before that, because I haven't seen Szpilka fight since he lost that fight. But I seen his fights previous to that because I remember I had to break down the Jennings-Szpilka fight on his channel. And in order for me to do that, I had to go back and watch Szpilka's fights before that. And there's things that he does in this fight here against Wilder that I haven't seen him done. I don't know how many fights he's been working with Ronnie Shields. I think maybe... I don't know if this is not his first fight. I believe he was working with him maybe 1 or 2 fights prior to this. I could be wrong. I can't remember. But there's things that I've seen him do that I wasn't really expecting. Okay. As far as a competitive fight, this was Deontay Wilder's most competitive fight. Like, I saw it 4-4 or 5-3 for Szpilka. All right. Very close rounds, though. Very, very close rounds. Almost every round was, like, very close, I didn't really agree with Steve Farhood's score or even the judges, Obviously, I thought the fight was a lot closer than the way they had it. But anyway, Deontay Wilder. This is what I liked about Deontay Wilder in this fight, okay? I like the fact that he was pretty good at countering this guy. With all the movement, the head movement, the changing directions, getting low. Just the fact that Artur Szpilka was giving him different looks. I don't feel like Deontay Wilder's ever fought. Like, I've at least seen Deontay Wilder at least fight 10, 12 of his fights. At least. That's bare minimum. And I've never seen him fight someone that was as skilled as Szpilka was in this fight. Okay? And for him to be able to counter him with that right hand at times was good. I was very impressed with that. The counter puncher was good, and even with, like I was saying, I'm watching the fight. I'm like, damn, Szpilka should go more to the body. He should shoot that straight, that jab straight down to the body, and he wasn't doing it because every time he tried to do it, Wilder would counter him with that left hook, and it kind of kept Szpilka to it kind of forced Szpilka to keep headhunting throughout the whole fight. So I was pretty impressed with Deontay Wilder with that. Okay, what I wasn't impressed with is the lunging. All right, he really couldn't find his range at no point of this fight. Okay, he was lunging a lot, and there was one time where he lunged so far out that he actually fell without even having a punch landed on him. His balance was off. You know what? Deontay Wilder never did anything pretty. Like, that's not him. Okay, he is kind of sloppy. He's kind of clumsy. He's very skinny. He's very actually a skinny, slim guy for a guy that his size. He's really not that big. He got a muscular physique, but the dude's legs is like he got chicken legs, and he looked kind of clumsy, like lanky, like the way he fights and stuff sometimes. So for him to move the way he do, for him to do the things that he does, and he's still finding ways to win these fights. If Deontay Wilder was trash, like, you gotta give him some type of credit, because if he was trash, he would have been really exposed by now. He's knocked out all of these guys, and he's stepped up. I know Duhaupas and Molina and Stavern and Szpilka. I know those are not the guys that people wanted him to fight, but they still were more of an improvement for him. Okay, Malik Scott was supposed to be a big fight. Malik Scott was supposed to be a troubling fight for him, and we saw what happened in that fight. So with that all being said, the guy has improved, and he's still improving while he holds the title. Okay, but what I'm saying is, based on the competition that he's faced, they're not top guys. Szpilka's probably the best guy he's fought right now. You can make the argument that Stavern was, or Malik Scott was, but Szpilka gave him the best fight because of the way he was fighting Wilder. Okay, and for him to still be able to knock this guy out, when I thought the fight was really a draw, I thought the fight was very, very close. Okay, for him to still be able to knock him out in devastating fashion like that is pretty damn impressive. Because I think that night, and I hope Szpilka keeps working with Ronnie Shields, because he's definitely improved in my opinion, and I think on that night he could have beaten a lot of other guys. I'm not trying to sit here and overrate Deontay Wilder's win, because I still have concerns about him. I still don't really, I really don't know, because there's still some guys out there that I think are very dangerous for him, including Povetkin, Tyson Fury, even Louis Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? Some guys like that are guys, or a young Joseph Parker. That's the guy that I really like. You guys know I like Joseph Parker. Right now, he's probably my favorite. He is my favorite up and coming heavyweight boxer. He's probably like my favorite right now. I really enjoy watching him. But anyway, these are the guys that I think would give Wilder a tough fight. And that's really not bad to say, because these are some of the top fighters. Some of those guys are the top 5, maybe, heavyweights in the game right now. All these other guys, he managed to knock them out. And the only reason why he didn't knock Stavern out is because Stavern did not engage with this man. Stavern said he was dehydrated, it wasn't himself. He did not engage with Deontay Wilder, and he just played it safe. He just wanted to survive in that fight. He didn't really come in there to win in that fight. So anyway, I was impressed somewhat. I don't think Wilder does everything the best. I don't think he's the most skilled, but he finds ways to win, you know, and that was a perfect counterpunch. That right hand he threw. Szpilka swung really wide with a left hook, I believe, and Deontay Wilder just timed them perfectly. Like, you could just tell he was looking for that shot, and he's landed that shot throughout the fight. You know, he's countered Szpilka before with that right hand a few times in a fight, but this one just it landed perfectly. You know, and you saw what happened. All right, Szpilka on the other hand, you know, like I said, he was giving him different looks. You know, he was changing directions constantly. The head movement, he was definitely giving Wilder problems. He did a very good job in that fight. Very, very good job. Very impressive by Szpilka. And I'm looking forward to see him again. I mean, I like the guy, you know. I like his attitude. You know, I follow him on social media, you know. I mean, he stays training. He's always training even outside of fights. And I like the guy, you know. I would like to see him again in more fights. And I hope he stays with Ronnie Shields up, because I think Ronnie Shields has definitely improved his game. With all that being said, Tyson Fury. I don't think Deontay Wilder could beat Tyson Fury, right? I think Tyson Fury is just a little too skilled, too big, too skilled, too fast, too athletic. I know he doesn't have the build, but you look at him, but the way the guy moves, the quickness, the volume, he's much better at being a rangier fighter. Outside of power, Tyson Fury just seems to have every advantage. And he's capable of stopping guys too. You know what I'm saying? And Deontay Wilder would have to knock him out. Just like the Klitschko fight. You know, I never did a Klitschko fight, but you got a post fight. But with Klitschko, I thought Klitschko was going to win the fight by knockout. I thought at some point, no matter what the rounds was looking like, I didn't think he would win in 12 rounds. I thought at some point, I was sure that Klitschko would knock this guy out. I mean, even while I was watching that fight, 6 rounds in, and I don't even think Klitschko won a round. And I was like, I still think Klitschko is going to catch this guy, because Fury is starting to get a little too comfortable in there. He started showboating, and I was like, yo, it takes one big shot from Klitschko, and he's going to turn the fight around. It never happened. I was wrong. But Wilder is dangerous for even Tyson Fury, because the dude has so much power. He probably hits harder than Vladimir Klitschko, and he's gonna be more of a fighter in that fight if they do actually meet in the ring. You know, I think Tyson Fury is a better fighter overall, but Wilder is finding ways to win. Okay, and the pacing of the fight, the way that it was going, I knew they were good. Like, if it went 12 rounds, I knew Wilder was going to get the win, but I was very impressed with Szpilka. Szpilka was doing his thing. And, you know, regardless of what the judges said, I felt like the fight was either a draw or Szpilka was up by a round or so. You know, I thought the fight was really close, okay? Now, as far as Povetkin, all right, this is where I know you guys are not going to really probably agree with me. Povetkin is very dangerous for anyone at heavyweight as well. He's a top 5 fighter, and a lot of people think he's going to destroy Deontay Wilder. I'm not really that sure, okay? The thing with Povetkin is when they actually fight, if they fight, Povetkin is not as quick on his feet as Szpilka was, okay? He's not going to be changing directions, and he doesn't have the head movement that we seen in this past fight, this past weekend. Povetkin is a guy that's going to be more similar to some of the guys that Deontay Wilder has faced already, where he's going to be right in front of Wilder. Now, I know he likes to get low, and he's going to come up under Deontay Wilder's space, and he's going to be throwing bombs. I understand that. But Deontay Wilder is going to be able to find his range against Povetkin. It's not going to be as difficult as it was against Szpilka. Plus, he's gonna be able. He's just gonna overall. He's gonna be able to find Povetkin better. He's gonna be able to land that right hand that he missed so much. He's not gonna have to lunge like he did against Szpilka. You get what I'm saying? I think Deontay Wilder has a good chance of winning that fight. Okay? Either one of them can knock the other guy out at any given time. You know, Povetkin has been stopping guys left and right ever since he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. Okay? The most dangerous part about Povetkin as well is that, or fighting Wilder, is that Wilder is not going to be leaning on him like the way Klitschko was. So that is dangerous for Wilder, you know. Wilder is very entertaining in the fight, you know. When he gets hit with a good shot, you know, he showboats a lot in the fight too. And he's not the smartest guy in the ring, you know. And he wants to be entertaining at all times. But, you know, that's why the fight is so dangerous for him. But at the same time, I feel like Wilder has the power. He's going to be able to connect against Povetkin. And it's a dangerous fight for either one of them. You know, I really don't know who's going to win that fight. But I do think Wilder has a chance of beating him. I don't think it's going to be as difficult as Szpilka was, because Szpilka was doing so much moving in the ring. And Deontay Wilder was lunging, and he was just having a hard time really catching this guy with a good shot. And when he finally did, he knocked him out. But it's not going to be as hard to find Povetkin. Okay? I think guys like Tyson Fury, Szpilka, maybe even a Louis Ortiz or Joseph Parker, guys that are going to be moving, that throw combinations, that could be a little bit quicker than Wilder. I think those guys are more dangerous than Alexander Povetkin, because even though Povetkin has that one punch knockout power, he's gonna get hit. You know, he's not that hard of a target to hit, and especially with Wilder, who is probably the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division right now. He's not the most skilled, but he has the power. All right, and he's pretty decent when a guy is standing right in front of him, and Povetkin's gonna be standing right in front of him, you know. So I do think Wilder has a chance of winning that fight, and I do think he's improving for a guy that, let's really look at it. Remember when Wilder was just running through? He was running through the whole, it was a lot of them who were bums, but Wilder was fighting guys and beating them within 4 rounds every single fight. You know, damn near every fight, all the way up until he fought for the title. He was knocking them all out in 4 rounds, you know. And now this year, you know, he forced a burn. He fought Molina. Molina did hurt him that round a couple times, that one round. But outside of that, you know, Molina was just in survival mode. You know, Duhapar had him some, you know, he did some work on Wilder early, but he was just in survival mode. You know, he really didn't have nothing for Wilder after, you know, midway through the fight. And now you had Szpilka, the guy that, I think that fight right there this past weekend actually made Wilder a better fighter. You know, because he actually fought someone that was slippery and slick. He's never really fought anyone that's done that to him, you know. And you can tell, you know, he really didn't. But he was still setting traps and trying to counter this guy. And when he did and finally landed, he knocked him out. You got to give him some kind of credit for that. You got to give him. I've criticized the man, but you got to give him credit. That was not an easy fight. And this guy has improved since he lost to Brian Jennings. Szpilka has improved. If you've seen his fights, like I said, I've seen his fights with Jennings, and before that, the guy has improved. He fought a tougher Szpilka that night. Then if we're just going by what we're seeing, the guy has improved, and Wilder did a good job. You know, Wilder could have lost to that man. I felt like at some point, I'm like, one of these guys are going to get hit. and it's gonna be hard. And I don't know who it is, but at some point in that fight, somebody was gonna get hit with a big shot and get hurt. And it happened to Szpilka, but it could have easily happened to Wilder, especially Szpilka was a bigger puncher, you know. So you got to give him some credit, you know, some credit, you know. The guy is definitely improving, and he's still winning by knockouts. That's the craziest part about it. And people that still criticize him, you gotta remember, he's stepping up and he's still beating guys by knockout. Okay. You know, I don't know if he could beat everybody. I don't think he could beat everyone in the division, but I mean, he's doing what he got to do. You know, you got to give him some credit. And I do think he has a chance to beat Povetkin. I wasn't impressed with the Wok fight. You know, and this is the last thing I want to speak on. I wasn't impressed with Povetkin's performance against Wok. First of all, it was a very boring fight. Wok really didn't pose no danger, but one thing with Wok, he knew how to use his range, and he knew how to keep working the jab. And it took a while for Povetkin to really consistently get through it, you know. They stopped the fight. They didn't really have to. I mean, the guy got cut, and I remember them stopping the fight. But outside of that, it really, like, Povetkin really wasn't that good in that fight, you know. And this is a guy that he was fighting that was taller and really didn't pose a threat, you know, because Wok doesn't really have the power he never really had the power to gain Povetkin's respect, where when he fights Wilder, it's going to be a different story, you know. But I think anyone can win this fight, you know. And I think Wilder, you know, might get knocked down in this fight. It could happen, you know. He might get knocked out. Who knows? Anybody could get knocked out in this fight. I wouldn't put money up for that fight, you know, if they actually fight, you know. But anyway, you know, I'm happy with whatever happens. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder and Charles Martin unify or whatever now, because of that garbage, that Glasgow fight, that fight. I don't even want to that's not even worth talking about. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole fight with Wilder. You know, I think people should give him more credit. I think he do have a chance to beat Povetkin. I think he has a chance to beat Tyson Fury. You know, I think he has a chance, you know, to beat any of these guys. It's just he has to land that one big shot against these guys. And I felt like even against Szpilka, he needed to knock him out. I mean, the fight was very close. So he was going to win by decision regardless, because Szpilka, I felt, was maybe slightly edging the fight, you know, because he was kind of outworking Deontay Wilder. The rounds that Szpilka was winning, he was kind of outworking him. But Tyson Fury's a different guy, you know. But Wilder could still land against him, because you got to remember, Tyson Fury gets reckless sometimes too. It's not like he plays a smart fight. He doesn't fight smart the entire fight. He doesn't. He likes to mix things up too. You know, and especially if you start taunting him, you get into his head a little bit, he fights reckless too. Wilder might be able to catch him with a big shot, you know. And Povetkin, it's not like he's unhittable. It's not like he's going to be moving like a Fury or a Szpilka was doing. You know, he's not going to be doing all that. All right, he's going to be standing right in front of him, trying to get low under him and come up with a big shot or go to the body some. You know, and Wilder's going to be backing up, jumping back and shooting that right hand or throwing that left hook. He's dangerous for Povetkin too. Let's not act like he's not dangerous. The dude still is probably the biggest puncher in the game. You know, and he does have some counter punching ability. You know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole thing with Wilder. You know, there's a lot more I want to talk about. You know, I love the heavyweight division right now. I think the heavyweight division is the best division in boxing right now. Straight up. I think if you really think about how 2015 went with the heavyweight division, started off with Wilder winning the WBC title. You know, Povetkin was doing his thing, annihilating guys. Tyson Fury beats Klitschko. It was a terrible fight, but it wasn't Tyson Fury's fault. It was Klitschko's fault. You know, because Klitschko just didn't engage, and he kept lunging in to hold. Even when the fight was closing and he's down so many rounds, he was still finding ways to try to hold on to, the commentary was actually good for that fight. I actually agreed with Roy Jones and stuff for that fight. You had Louis Ortiz, King Kong, knocking out Brian Jennings. That was crazy. You had Joshua and knocking out Dillian White. That was crazy. You got young fighters coming up. The heavyweight division is running, and we're not hearing no catch weight wars, and there's none of that going on. It's not like Top Rank have any real heavyweights, or you're not even hearing any wars between Al Heyman and promotions. You're not hearing none of that. It's like heavyweights is just straight fighting right now, and some of the fights should have taken place by now, especially Wilder and Povetkin. But for the most part, we're getting fights. All right, so I love the division. I think Wilder is improving. I think he could win against anyone because of that power. I don't think he has the skills, but I think he's improving, and I think he's good for the sport. I think him and Tyson Fury, regardless of how the fight go, it might be a really good fight, and we might be able to get a rematch out of it. It could be a trilogy. You never know. Like, I love what these guys are doing. I love the fact that he came in the ring. Like, I love that. I should have went. To the damn fight. My father called me in the morning and was like, "Yo, why didn't you tell me about this fight? We should have been in the building." I love that Povetkin and all these fighters from around the world was in the building. I love that. I was watching the fight and like, damn, I should have really went to the Barclays that night. But anyway, make sure you guys hit subscribe, and leave your comments. Let me know how you think about Povetkin and the way that I broke it down, because I think Povetkin is definitely capable of beating Deontay Wilder, but I don't think people are giving Wilder enough credit there to, we all criticize him, but the dude could win the fight. Let's not act like he can't win, Let me know what you think about Povetkin, Tyson Fury, Szpilka. How did you have the fight going? Like I said, I think it was 4-4, 5, maybe 5-3 for Szpilka, okay, before the 9th round. Let me know what you guys think, man, and make sure you subscribe. Peace.